Hi everyone, I'm CCYamato. It's episode 7, and based on the preview from last week and what we know from the manga, this is just going to be the episode where they go to Tomoyo's house and they get fitted for new costumes, and then apparently there will be a chase in a garden somewhere. So, great. There shouldn't be any surprises here. I can't call anything wrong, because provided we're just following the manga here, which I know we can diverge, but based on the preview, there shouldn't be anything new here, alright? So we're not going to catch record because we caught record last episode. There's just going to be Tomoyo's house, fitting costumes, catch flight, maybe some expository stuff on the clear cards. So let's find out. Hey, look at that, I was right. It is it's the flight episode. They changed some of the parts. They removed like the fitting part, but I mean that's honestly that was just the excuse to get over to Tomoyo's house before, and this time she changes it so it's like, I've got a record card that I don't know what to do with, and Tomoyo is good at cameras, so why don't I ask her what it does or how to use it or something. Okay, how else does the episode go? She goes over to Tomoyo's house, she tries on a new outfit, they try record. They figure out how record works, basically the same way as they did in the manga, except that this time Tomoyo is here. Then Shaoran shows up, and then the flight card shows up, and they have this, as the title implies, a chase through the garden, and then she captures it with the power of friendship, and then spends the next like 2 or 3 minutes on screen just flying and doing a lot of like really fun looking flying. Like the limitation of the fly card always seemed that since it worked with actual wings, it was kind of limited to how flying seems to work. Like it was actually aerodynamic, but the flight card seems to just be transvection, the ability to just move three-dimensionally through space without actually having to follow any kind of rule of aerodynamics. So in that case, I love it. Fly is, if I had to pick one, it would definitely be, I would want flight over fly. So I'll get it out of the way. Animation, again, wonky in places, but it wasn't as distracting this time. Like, it was still there, but this time I actually feel a lot better about some of at least the landscapes that they did, because there's parts where, especially when she's flying, like they've got these gorgeous, like, large landscapes. Like, this is the first time you've really ever really gotten to see Tomoe on a large scale. And you see, like, the scale that is Tomoyo's home, and clearly the part of Tomoe that she lives in. It's really rural, like right on the outside of town. So I liked all that. Everything else was pretty standard. Tomoyo has a drone now. That's there's all sorts of things that are in the modern era that are working their way into the series, despite that the series technically is taking place in the year 2000. Well, they got smartphones and now they got drones, and it's a tiny little drone. It's like the size of a VHS tape. Yeah, it's cool. It's the only problem I think there is with it is like there's a lot of moments where like the drone appears to only have one camera lens, and it can't, like, it doesn't seem to always be facing it. But also, I'm not entirely sure how that drone like flies horizontally, because like it's always flying flat, but there's no way for the propellers to move. So I mean, I don't use a real drone, so I don't know how well they fly. But I mean, it's really easy to animate. It's like one bar that doesn't have to move at all. It's like, I mean, you took the lazy way out, but it's still it's a clever design. Beyond that, I'm not sure what else to talk about with this episode. Like, it was fine. It was like, I guess now that if I just go ahead and not be such a stickler about the animation, just pay attention to other things, that everything else is fine. The music was still all the same same callbacks. They had a lot. They had that mysterious song play when she's learning to, I can't capture all these cards with force, and you know, it's like, a lot of the cloud cards were like that too. Like, every cloud card required a different approach, and not all of them required violence. And this is just one of those revelations that's like, it's a revelation, but it's like, you should technically already know this because you've been through this before. It's, you know, it's kind of like I don't know if it's character regression or if it's just bad writing. I mean, it's just kind of like, or like we couldn't really think of what else to do, so we just had it. It's like, yeah, I gotta learn again that some cards do not require force to capture. Just ask them. It's like Pokemon. Sometimes you just have to ask the Pokemon. You don't have to beat it up first. Oh, you know what? Going back to the animation once. So normally I do harp on when the animation goes cheap, but there is a moment in there where the cheap animation works. And it's when they're in the garden, and it kind of goes a little cartoony, where she's doing the chase between Flight as it ducks behind bushes, and she goes to search for it and such. So like in that moment it worked. It was cute. It was, I guess, intentionally lower grade in that case. So now, next episode, we are finally going to Akiho's house, and presumably we will get the explanation for how Ariel's house is not destroyed, because it was destroyed at the beginning of the second movie, and that's how Void, or Nothing, was released. But I guess in theory we're just going to officially say the second movie never happened. I mean, I'm not opposed to that. The second movie is lovely and all, but it always seemed odd to me that there was a Nothing card when there was an Erase card already. And Clamp has admitted that the plot of the second movie didn't really matter. It was just an excuse to resolve Sakura and Xiaoran's story, because 20 years ago or 15 years ago they didn't conceive that they were going to come back and do another series. Yeah, but that's what that episode's going to be. They're going to Akiho's house. Presumably in that episode they will work in Lucid at the very least. Beyond that, don't know what else. I'm not really prepared to make any other predictions on that episode. Until then, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time, and to stay tuned for the chapter video that'll be coming up real soon. Bye.